Hey guys, so today I want to do another Doctor Who episode review, and this is episode 3 of the first series, which is The Unquiet Dead. Now I know I say this with every episode review, but this is definitely one of my favourite Doctor Who episodes. There's nothing wrong with it, and I've said this with series 1, series 1 is basically perfect. So this is just one of the other perfect episodes within a perfect series, and I can't flaw it. Now, this first aired on the 9th of April 2005, which seems like a lifetime ago. Yeah, it doesn't seem like that long ago when the show came back. It just feels like yesterday, and it's just gone by so quickly. We've had so much episodes and so much just joy from it all. I just can't believe that we're in almost into the 6th season. Well, kind of, but it's just so amazing. But anyway. So this one, we see the Doctor and Rose go back to 1869 Christmas Eve, which is the time of Charles Dickens, and they go to see Charles Dickens, and there's a zombie there, and obviously they hear this racket, this screaming, they go and see what's wrong, and you've got the zombie, and then they look further into it, and there's loads of sort of mysteries with dead bodies, and they're turning into zombies, and obviously the Doctor, being the Doctor, he wants to find out why and solve it. And quite early on they come across the creature that is the Gelf and find out that they are sort of in charge of these zombies and they're driving the zombies. And then they have to try and stop the Gelf and persuade the Gelf they're doing wrong. And the usual sort of routine the Doctor goes through to try and save the Earth once more. So basically, when I say plots are original with Doctor Who, technically the plots are always the same. It's there's a problem, he's got to fix it, will he? And obviously he always does. Otherwise, if he didn't, the Doctor would end, and that'd be it, which would be depressing. But the fact that it's zombies is quite nice. I don't like zombies. I'm not a fan of zombies. I don't like films with zombies in them or anything. But zombies are a sort of common thing that isn't typical to Doctor Who. Like your Daleks are your typical Doctor Who creature, but zombies, you get them in all sorts of films and shows. And I like that they've taken that aspect and put it into Doctor Who. The Gelf, on the other hand, is of course unique and very, very amazing. The Gelf is the Gelf is basically a spirit. That's sort of what it is. And when you see the actual creature itself in its sort of glowing blue form and things, it does very much look like a spirit, a ghost. And I love that. I don't know if I've ever mentioned this on this channel, but I love ghosts and the paranormal and things. So the fact that this episode has that aspect to it, mixed in with the history, obviously given the era and everything. So you've got the paranormal and you've got history and you've got sci-fi all in one show, and it's like absolutely fantastic. That, I think, for me makes it perfect. And then you look at the cast and things and it's just totally amazing. Like obviously the cast itself, you've got Rose, Billie Piper, who you all know I absolutely adore. Chris Eccleston as the Doctor. He's very slowly creeping his way to be exactly on par with David Tennant. I've said before, it's like David Tennant, Chris Eccleston, Matt Smith. But now it's kind of David Tennant, Chris Eccleston, Matt Smith. There's such a fine line between them. I cannot decide who's the best Doctor. So you've got your main two characters there, which are obviously perfect. We really understand the characters a bit more now by the time we've entered the 3rd episode. You can relate to them more, you understand what's going on more, providing you haven't just started watching with that episode. And you really begin to connect with them, and you understand things like, for example, the song Screwdriver. If the Doctor pulls it out of his pocket, you're now not thinking, what the hell is that? You know what it is, you know what it's for. Same with the psychic paper and everything, you understand the ways. So those two are fantastic characters. The other character that really stood out for me was Gwyneth, who I first actually really adored as Gwyneth. You know, that's how I first found out about Eve Myles. I was like, wow, she's an amazing actress, who is she? And I was like, Eve Myles, never heard of her. So I went and sort of read up about her and things, and then obviously she was cast as Gwen in Torchwood. And that was fantastic. And then of course, if you watched season 4 of Doctor Who, which I'm sure most of you did, there was the connection made between Gwen and Gwyneth, or it was sort of confirmed that Gwen is related to Gwyneth, kind of, if you know what I mean. So that was really nice, but I think Gwyneth is such a fantastic character. especially when she takes charge of the seance, because there's a seance at some point. And when she takes charge of that, her character really shines through as well, and the caring side of her character is so lovely. And it's just lovely to have Eve Myles in that episode as well. Simon Callow plays Charles Dickens. Not really somebody I'd heard of before, to be honest with you. I think he's actually quite a big name, but he's not been in anything I've picked up on. But I'm going to have to go and see what else I can find out about him. Zoe Thorne is the Gelf. Interesting fact, or at least I find it interesting, she also voiced the Spheres in Last of the Time Lords. And now that I know that, now that I've read that, I can kind of very slightly put a sort of connection of similarity between the voice of the Gelf and the voice of the Spheres. I can kind of hear the similarity between them. Obviously she changes her voice for them, but you can sort of hear a very slightness in them, and also the way they speak is kind of the same as well. I was going to say something else there as well. Oh yeah, it's written by Mark Gatiss, who has written, I want to say 3 of the episodes, but I could be wrong. But he actually played Lazarus in the Lazarus Experiment. And I'm sure I was having a conversation about him with somebody the other day, but I can't remember who or why. But yeah, he plays Lazarus, but he wrote this episode as well. And I mean, it is well written, fantastic episode, brilliant script. Directed by Lynn, who I have mentioned. I think I mentioned that he directed the last episode I reviewed, possibly. Don't quote me on that, because I could be wrong. But I know it's a name I've mentioned before. Again, wonderfully directed. There are some wonderful scenes in this. One of the sort of final scenes with the Gelf before everything sort of goes kabang, if you like. I don't think kabang is a word, but before everything goes kabang, I'm going to stick with that word. There's a beautiful scene with the Gelf when the Gelf is still blue before it goes red. And it's such a lovely, lovely scene. If you've seen the episode, I'm sure you'll know which one I mean. And it is just so, so beautiful. That's all I made notes about to tell you about. Like I said, there was something else I was going to mention as well, but I forgot. If it comes back to me, I will put it in an annotation if it's that important, but I doubt it's that important since I don't remember it. But yeah, this, like I said, is one of my favourite episodes. Please let me know if it's one of your favourites as well, because, and I've said this as well many times, Series 1 does not get enough credit. I rarely see the repeats on TV. Like, I rarely see that they are there. Nobody ever talks about it. There's very few fan sites for 9 and Rose. You know, there's loads for 10 and Rose or 11 and Amy, but there's very few for Chris Eccleston's Doctor in this series, and I think it's such a shame because it is my favourite. And I just love it completely, and I wish there was more about it. You know, people are always talking about David's episodes and things, and I just think that Series 1 needs to be focused on a little bit more. So please feel free to leave video responses to this as well with your thoughts on the episode, because that'd sort of circulate the whole Series 1 thing a little bit more. But yeah, so feel free to leave comments and things as usual and let me know your thoughts, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys!